What's up everyone, my name is Sean and this is We Are Investing, a channel that's dedicated in investing and personal finance. On today's video, let's dive into Bitcoin. Let's talk about this cryptocurrency because the media right now is going nuts over Bitcoin and the most recent price action for this cryptocurrency. Now first, let me know in the comment section down below. In 6 months time from the release of this video, do you believe Bitcoin will be above $32,000? Or do you believe it will be below $32,000? Let me know in the comment section what you think will happen with Bitcoin in the next 6 months. In addition, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, ringing that notification bell, and smashing that like button. Let's get right into it. Now, first and foremost, I am not a fan of when the media begins to start drooling over a stock or a crypto or anything that is traded. Because to me, that typically is a sign that we are at peak hype or peak FOMO. Once the mainstream media is reporting on it and a lot of people are bullish and they're bringing in all of the bullish analysts so that they can look like they're really good, that is not a good sign in my personal opinion. So on this video, I kind of want to go over some things and maybe bring you back to reality, so to show a different perspective and to report on some of the reporting or some of the other analysts that don't get on mainstream media. So Bitcoin, as you may already know, crossed $30,000, which has been a huge rally. And a lot of that rally is driven off of the belief that the Federal Reserve is about done with their rate hikes and we could start to see some quantitative easing. Right now, we're in quantitative tightening, but the most recent collapse with those banks, actually, we started to see some quantitative easing. The way to determine if we're seeing quantitative easing or tightening is just to look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. They were letting assets roll off of the balance sheet, reducing the size of the overall balance sheet. But then after the bank collapse, they had to bail some banks out and they increased the size of their balance sheet. So that's quantitative easing in a way. But it might be very short term because the goal for the Fed obviously is to reduce the size of the balance sheet if they can help it. But sometimes they can't help it. And the market is like a baby who got candy and always wants to be propped up by the Federal Reserve through some kind of stimulus. Now, a senior analyst at stockcharts.com thinks it's too early to call victory on Bitcoin. The resistance area for BTC is still between $28,500 to $32,000. Bitcoin's support and resistance levels are renowned for being very fluid and rough. And what they are looking for is for Bitcoin to hold above $32,000 for a couple days to signal via price action that this uptrend can continue. Now, Bitcoin isn't a company. Bitcoin is traded purely off of technicals and price action with some macro story behind it, because it's very hard to put a valuation on Bitcoin. The only valuation you can put on it is based on how it's trading and what people are willing to pay for it. Now, they believe that if Bitcoin can stay above $32,000, the next range will be $45,000 to $47,500. Now, they said, and we kind of said this already, analyzing price action is especially important in Bitcoin because it does not have earnings reports and rarely has news events to move price. So the majority of swings that we see in this asset happens based on sentiment. Because of this, it lends itself well to technical analysis, which our firm utilizes in our active management style. And I completely agree with that. However, there is a story with why Bitcoin might have some bullish sentiment outside of just price action. And that story is the fact that banks have failed. And Bitcoin is a decentralized currency, so it does not rely on banks. So if people are starting to feel a little iffy, if people are not comfortable with banks, they might feel a little bit better about putting money into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is trying to solve that problem. And actually, Bitcoin was created because of the '08 financial crisis. I don't know if it's the solution to the problems, but I do know that that is one reason, one tailwind for Bitcoin currently, and that could be one of the reasons why sentiment is strong and the price action has been strong for Bitcoin, outside of that other story of peak interest rates. Now, if you use the affiliate link that I have down below and you join Webull and you deposit $100, this channel will be rewarded with some free stocks, so I highly appreciate it. But in addition, you will get 12 fractional shares, with each share being valued anywhere from $3 to $3,000. In addition, on your cash that you have in your account that's not being traded or invested currently, you will get 5.8% interest on that money. Now, that offer is only up to $10,000 in cash, and you have to be enrolled in the cash management program. But you can do so by joining Webull. If you're going to join Webull, use that affiliate link. Now, what I want to show you on the chart for Bitcoin is that resistance level at $32,000. That resistance level corresponds to the price that Bitcoin was back in June of 2022. It also corresponds to the low that we saw in January of 2022. So that line right there is the upper end of the current range that we have in Bitcoin, because we can retest that prior resistance and that prior support as a key level. And it's fluid, and that's why the analyst wants to see it hold above that level for a couple of days. Just because Bitcoin is extremely volatile, it can shoot up to $34,000, and at the end of the day, it can be back down to $30,000, and you can't say with any conviction that it broke that resistance. You got to wait for it to actually hold above that level for a couple days. And then their next level just corresponds to the peak right here at $48,000 back from April of 2022. Now, what do I think when looking at Bitcoin? Well, obviously, the chart is very clear that it has had a nice rebound and momentum has been strong to the upside. We're currently right now at around a 70 RSI on the daily. Given the price action today, makes me a little wary of whether or not we're going to hit $32,000. I actually think there's a possibility that the rally might end here at around $30,000, and we could see a pullback back down to around $25,000 and see what happens there. I do believe that right now, unless things change drastically, price action with momentum is indicating that we are starting to see a reversal in Bitcoin. But things can change really quickly. So I would like to see higher highs and higher lows continue since the bounce that occurred back in November. But I don't think we're just going to continue skyrocketing higher. I do think $32,000 is going to be a very strong resistance, and we are due for another pullback that hopefully sets up a higher low. But I'm a little skeptical when it comes to cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in this environment, because I am bearish on the economy, and I do believe equities have more room to fall. And I think it'll be a little silly to think that Bitcoin is just going to separate itself completely from the equity markets and continue higher as companies like Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia are all overextended, and I believe will fall down as well. But those are my opinions, and like I said, let me know in the comment section down below where you think Bitcoin will be in 6 months' time. Outside of that, I thank you so much for your time. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, and this is We Are Investing. See ya.